Hello, welcome to this update for North America, especially the severe weather and everything. So let's see here. And I'm fixing some technical issues. Sorry if there's any delay on the video or in the voice. I'll try to go as slow as possible. So let's see. There's this enhanced risk spots of Montana, like central-ish Montana, and there's this light risk goes all the way from Texas to northern Montana. So there's this marginal risk as well, goes literally from Mexico to Canada, and there's this other marginal risk spots of the mid-south as well. So we do have a 5% tornado threat there in Montana, those areas, especially like central Montana to southern Montana. There's a 2% too that goes all the way to Colorado. So please be aware in those areas, especially in the 5%, a couple of tornadoes possible. So stay safe. There's like some wind too, 15 and 5%, and there's the area hatched in Montana for some very strong winds, potentially some hurricane force winds in some of those in the stronger storms. So be careful in those areas. There's the 15 and 5% in all the slight and marginal risk areas. There's a 5% in the south too. So stay safe in those areas. Now there's hail. It's now 30% in central Montana in those areas, 30% hatched, and spots of northern Wyoming too. So be careful in those areas, especially some very big hails in Montana, spots of Wyoming, not the way to Texas. So be careful. Let's see. Scattered severe thunderstorms expect this afternoon and evening across parts of Montana, extending southward across parts of central southern high plains. The greatest concentration of severe thunderstorms should occur across central eastern Montana. A large, very large hail, severe winds, perhaps a few tornadoes are anticipated. So stay safe in those areas. Please be careful. So let's just see quickly here. A closed upper low will remain centered across the coast of British Columbia today. Multiple low amplitude mid-level shortwave troughs advance eastward across the Pacific Northwest to the Northern Rockies. A seasonally moist low-level air mass are in place this morning across much of Montana. Surface dew points during the 50s. Daytime heating and modesty steeper mid-level lapse rates will aid the very moderate instability by this afternoon, and mainly from central Montana to eastern Montana, and 30 to 50 knots west southwest mid-level flow associated with shortwave troughs should support similar values of deep layer shear, with RAP forecast sounding showing long straight autographs the mid-upper levels. Large-scale acid attendant to the shortwave troughs likely encourage robust convective development by early afternoon, 18 to 20 C, initially over the higher terrain in the northern Rockies. So these activities forecast to become more supercellular given the moderate to strong effective bulk shear, and the forward lapse rates forecast mid-upper levels should support the threat for scarce large, actually very large hail, 2 inches plus in diameter, and this initially with this initial supercellular activity, but later by the late afternoon to the early evening, some clustering upscale growth anticipated across eastern Montana vicinity as a low-level jet southeasterly flow gradually strengthens. The greater threat for damaging wind gusts, actually gusts 75 miles or higher, remains apparent across this area. The tornado threat is less clear as the boundary layers forecast to become rather well mixed this afternoon. Still, modest increase in low-level shear this evening may support some threat for a few tornadoes. So be careful in those areas. Be aware. There's like, let's just see day 2 very quick as well. So that show this light trees across Nebraska, spots of Wyoming towards South Dakota, and Montana again. So even northeastern Colorado, there's this marginal risk across all the way from Montana to southern Texas. So be careful tomorrow. A 2% tornado threat tomorrow, Montana towards Nebraska and parts of Colorado. And there's like South Dakota to Wyoming, Wind threat in all the areas and still some hail threat there as well in those areas. So stay safe. Scared severe thunderstorms keep a large hail and naturally damaging winds possible across parts central, northern high plains Saturday afternoon and evening. Margin severe storms also possible across parts southern central plains. So stay safe in those areas for tomorrow. Now for day 3. Is this day 3? It looks exactly like day 2, but believe it or not, another slight risk on day 3. So shows again those same areas across Montana, Wyoming, spots of South Dakota, North Dakota, into Nebraska, marginal risk on the East Coast, Carolina, Virginia, and the marginal from Texas to Montana. So still 5-15% probabilistic, and shows like scarce severe storms give isolated large hail, severe wind gusts expect on Sunday across parts southeastern Montana, southeastward into northern Nebraska. Elsewhere in the Great Plains, marginal severe storms will possible. Few severe wind gusts may also occur parts North Carolina and southern Virginia. So stay safe in those areas day 3 as well. So let's see here. There's like further north first. Shows maybe let's see the northwest to see Montana first. So shows like alright, some storms this afternoon starting the mountains there. They go get more severe towards central Montana. Those areas shows some very strong cells in a few spots, some large hail. So this goes shows there some in Wyoming, and they continue towards Nebraska and South Dakota later in the evening, and then it goes there. So be careful tomorrow. Those areas, let's put a 60 here because the 12 is not all in it yet, but the 60 does show as well, especially later in the evening, show South Dakota and Nebraska, more spots there. And then we don't have the coverage for tomorrow yet, but we'll keep watching. Be aware, especially like shows this the 0Z here, shows those storms central to eastern Montana, maybe even some stronger convective systems later. And then this goes. So stay safe in those areas. There's like shows Cape True in some spots this evening across Wyoming to Montana, more than 1,000 to 2,000 joules per kilogram, especially in Wyoming. And Nebraska, northeastern Colorado is even to 3,000, but in Montana, those areas like close to 2,000 joules per kilogram in a few spots. So stay safe, those storms, be careful in those areas. And slightly in the 50s dew points, a few spots central Montana, those areas. Nothing too crazy, but they can support those storms, especially like in Nebraska in the 60s dew points. So be careful those areas, and yeah, so stay safe. There's here like the updraft listed. Let's see what it shows. So like shows this is until Saturday morning, so let's see. Shows like Montana, central Montana, some tracks there indicating some larger hail. A few spots in Wyoming too, into Nebraska, like northeastern Colorado into Nebraska. Shows there a finger or two in Kentucky or Tennessee, but like very little, probably like marginal risk worthy. So nothing too crazy, but be careful Montana. And if you can notice here as well, further north in Canada, like in Saskatchewan, shows a few stronger tracks in a few spots. So some severe storms possible there too. So be careful today in those areas, especially southern Alberta into southern Saskatchewan, even a few spots central Saskatchewan. So stay safe in those areas. I don't have the weather map for Canada today showing like the severe storm spots, but just know that there will probably be a few severe storms possible in Saskatchewan and into southern Alberta. So be careful those areas. There's like this significant tornado parameter that show later this evening, like 2Z, I think or to southern Montana, those areas, but actually showing like in Oklahoma, but just uh, don't focus at that because there won't be any storms there. There will be some like Texas Panhandle, but there'll be like very few to no storms in those areas. So the parameter might be good there, but that there won't be like storms to pass over it. But the show slightly earlier in the afternoon, spots in Wyoming, a few spots there in Nebraska. It shows some like very low parameters, but in terms of tornadoes, it's not too interesting today. But be careful, like Central Montana, they have the 5% there, so stay stay aware there. Be careful for that, and stay safe those areas. And here for those storms in Canada does show like in Alberta, especially this evening, central-ish Alberta, some stronger storms might be severe, especially southern Saskatchewan, some higher chance of like severe storms with hail and gusty winds and like even like tiny tornado threat. So be careful. Later Saturday in Saskatchewan, stronger storms, central southern Saskatchewan, and like by Sunday, Manitoba, a thing or two. By Sunday evening, shows more things in the US, that slight risk that we have there. And then Monday, starting Monday and Tuesday, we'll have a very interesting, complex situation in the Midwest, especially like southern Canada into the Midwest. This is next Tuesday evening, a possible big system there in the Midwest, heading to Canada Wednesday and Thursday, more severe weather. So we'll uh, have to watch next week closely. And there's here like for the excessive rainfall, there is like a slight risk, spots of Arkansas, Tennessee, into Louisiana, spots of Mississippi and Alabama, and Texas and southern Louisiana too. Also in the mid-Atlantic, spots of Illinois and Missouri. So be careful, some flash flooding, some spots too. So further north into Montana, spots the upper Midwest. Still for Saturday in the plains and the mid-Atlantic, some flash flooding possible. Sunday still around the mid-Atlantic and all the way to Montana. Monday still a few spots there, and Tuesday already a slight risk. So better watch a lot in the Midwest next week. There's like the day 1 through 7, especially in the Mid-Atlantic, close to 5 inches possible next 5-7 days. So be careful there too. Texas, Louisiana, and this other hot spot in the Midwest. So be careful in those areas. The West is very hot and dry. So yeah, so be careful. Let's just see here this major heat risk still happening. So shows like Saturday in the south, especially Florida, Texas, and New Mexico. There's Sunday, still shows close to extreme New Mexico, spots of Arizona. For Monday, similar thing, spots of the southeast as well. Tuesday, Oklahoma, Texas, still in New Mexico, close to extreme in some spots. Wednesday shows more in Virginia, spots of North Carolinas. So be aware next week in the East Coast. It's still showing next Thursday a lot major heat risk in the southeast. So be aware in those areas. We'll keep watching. And here, I'm just curious if they have the weather map here for the severe storms, but I'm not too sure. But this is let's see the weather warnings here because just this thing just appeared here. So we do have extreme heat warnings, some spots in the southwest, especially in Arizona, into Nevada and California, in those areas. Some heat advisories like extreme western Texas and some air quality still in the north. Even like there's a flood watch in Alaska. I don't know if that's true, but that will be very interesting to watch. So be aware, spots of Texas, Louisiana, and Virginia and Maryland already. So be careful. Is that a tiny heat advisory as well? Central Alaska. So be aware, those areas just let's see here, like it doesn't really show much rain there. We have to investigate better there in Alaska, but does show some precipitation on the east, on the west coast there in a few spots. So be aware, those areas, you can see these areas, the Midwest next 5 days as well, more than 3-4 inches in those areas. So be careful those areas and stay safe. So here, I don't know why every tab keeps changing, but let's see for day 4 and later, because believe it or not, we already have some interesting things to watch, like I mentioned there before about the Midwest next week. So day 4, Monday, we already have this 15% chance severe weather from Nebraska to Iowa, Minnesota, western Wisconsin, spots of South Dakota. So be careful for Monday in those areas there, the 15%. Tuesday, further south into Kansas, Nebraska, and Colorado, another 15%. And Wednesday, day 6, further to the Midwest, Wisconsin into Illinois, spots of Iowa into northern Missouri, day 6. Day 7, day 8, nothing. But we basically have slight risk of severe weather from today to next Wednesday. That's like 5 days of severe weather possible, or even more. So please be careful those areas, because we'll have multiple rounds of severe storms to watch over the next week. So be aware in those areas. So let's just see from Monday to Wednesday here. Mid-level reach across the Great Plains forecast to become less amplified on Monday as multiple shortwave troughs move through the westerly flow across north central states. The moist air mass is forecast across much central northern plains, where moderate to strong instability appears like to develop by the afternoon. Along the northern edge, a stronger instability scared convective initiation is expected. The instability combined with moderate deep layer shears should support severe threat. Large hail and severe wind gusts will be possible during the afternoon and evening. So the mid-level reach forecast move eastward into Missouri Valley on Tuesday as a trough moves into the Rockies. At the surface, moist air mass forecast from the central plains into the Missouri Valley, where moderate strong stability appears like to develop by the afternoon. Large-scale ascent ahead of the approaching troughs forecast to move to the central plains Tuesday evening. So as a result, a large area of thunderstorms is forecast to develop across northern Kansas, much of Nebraska. Model forecasts suggest the moderate deep layer shear being placed support large hail and damaging winds, and this mid-level troughs forecast move across the Great Plains on Wednesday. Moist air mass forecast remain placed to the east of the trough across the lower Missouri and Mississippi valleys ahead. The trough moderate instability forecast by the afternoon turns on the west expected with this unstable air mass from eastern Kansas to northeastward into the mid and upper Mississippi valleys. Severe threat will be possible because the greatest potential severe storms could be from northern Missouri into southern Wisconsin along the near the axis of the low-level jet. So be aware in those areas next week. Let's see. So be aware. And here for like on the GFS, this is next Tuesday, 300 millibars. You can kind of see this trough taking shape here and into the plains in those areas. So we'll keep watching here on the model 2. There's like the European shows if it works, because here shows Sunday, Monday, especially Monday evening, the Midwest, the Europeans has severe storms, and Tuesday, the Europeans very robust storms. The trough goes to the plains and into Wednesday there. So be aware, those areas will still keep watching. So be aware. And just for you to know, there are things happening down south in the tropics as well, in the Eastern Pacific, but we'll have another video for the tropics tomorrow, most likely, so stay tuned for that, because we don't have much time today. So let's just quickly see the temperatures here. Shows already in the hundreds today in Arizona, Southern California, in those areas. So 90s in New Mexico, close to 100 in eastern New Mexico, into Texas. So stay safe, Utah, and more spots in Nevada. So be aware, those areas shows during the night slightly colder in the Cascades, but it's still very warm in the south, those areas. Does show here during the day Saturday, some is in the plains, some 90s, even to 103 further south. So be careful in those areas. And in the southwest, the shore edge 108, close to 110 in Arizona. Those areas, that valley, even more than 115. So please be careful. Sunday morning, still kind of hot. Some is in the southwest. And be careful of the heat risk, especially if it stays hot at night. The show by Sunday afternoon, probably the hottest day, shows to 104 New Mexico, 102 and 90s in Texas, to the plains, and that showed to 113 in Arizona, in California. So here, closer up, does show like 113, 114 between California and Arizona, even in Phoenix, more than 111. So stay safe in those areas. Please be careful. Probably to 120 plus in that valley. So drink a lot of water. Stay safe from the heat, especially in the southwest. Be careful. Spots of Colorado and Utah in the lower elevations, and into New Mexico, more than 105 as well. So stay safe in those areas. For Monday afternoon, still shows Monday afternoon to 112 in Arizona, 110, 110 in California, to 113 in a few spots, probably in Texas, into Oklahoma, close to 100 northeastern Texas, like north central Texas, more New Mexico. So please stay safe in those areas. And the show for Tuesday a little bit better, but still 206 in New Mexico, so 109 in Arizona and California. So stay safe in those areas. Please be careful. And you're seeing Texas into Kansas, more than 100 by Tuesday already. And during the night, slightly colder the Sierra Nevada and the high parts of the Rockies, but nothing too crazy. And stay safe, those temperatures coming. So be careful in those areas, and let's just see if I find something very, very quick. So the show, that's a day ago. Yeah, let's see if they have it here, like, because I want to show you some maps, but you already know about the severe storms. So let's see if they have anything. This was 16 hours ago, Friday, so this is Friday today. Shows severe storms possible in the same areas that I told you, in Saskatchewan, those spots of in Alberta, especially some storms in British Columbia. So yeah, stay safe. And still Saturday across Saskatchewan, in those areas. So be careful those storms and stay safe. The temperatures in Canada are kind of mild, but kind of warmer. Spots in the south, colder. Nunavut, still some below average temperatures there, but much warmer, like in the 50s to 70s degrees Central Alaska Fahrenheit, and I think some mid 50s to 60s, and shows spots of northwestern temperatures to 24 degrees Celsius. So it's already warmer there. This goes during the night slightly colder, especially very cold in Nunavut, northern Quebec, spots of the west as well, and then much warmer, some spots during the day there. So be aware, southeastern Canada, especially by Sunday, more than 20 degrees, more spots. So yeah, stay safe. It's slightly colder in a few spots during the night still. And don't forget that snow in Nunavut in those areas, especially central northeastern Nunavut, even to 54 centimeters. Northern Quebec should get some heavier snow and some freezing rain too. Northern Quebec, so still be careful the ice and snow in those northern areas, and maybe in the Rockies a finger or two in British Columbia and two Yukon. So a finger or two, but yeah, stay safe. And be mindful in the case of strong winds in Nunavut, especially that snow in Nunavut, San Hargas in Quebec this weekend, and a few spots. So yeah, maybe a spot or two in the US hidden in the Rockies next week, but yeah, nothing too crazy. So stay safe, be careful.